Landry here with you for another episode of Cheeseheadz Weekly. It is Wednesday morning, somewhat a little bit earlier in the morning. I just got up and gonna try to record the episode here before work. So yeah, didn't get it done yesterday. Had some stuff going on. Couldn't record it Monday either because I was like getting ready to record, doing my research and stuff, trying to be better prepared than last time. Uh, so I did that. I could have got it done Monday if I would have thought about it, but I forgot that we had stuff going on Tuesday. Didn't get it recorded until now, so it is Wednesday. But hopefully you'll forgive me this time, and I'll get back on schedule for next time. So, as far as news goes, actually, I forgot something. We have the Q&As and the polls on Spotify that need some participation, especially the Q&As. We always get some poll votes. I will say, last time we got in the poll, I made a slight mistake. I made the Titans record 4-13. It was actually 3-14. When I predicted it, there's a good many mistakes though. Actually, I I also had the Texans winning both games against actually, when I went through the Titans, um, wins and losses, I said the Titans won uh, their first game of the season versus their first division matchup versus the Texans, because they would have played the Texans twice since they're in the division. Um, so I said Titans won the first one, and then uh, they lose the second one to the Texans. And then whenever I went through the Texans one, I said the Texans win both games versus Tennessee. But I must have counted the record wrong when I did that, because when I went back and figured everything out right this time, got everything shored up, I still had them finishing 6-11. So, the record's right. It's just a few of the games were a little bit mixed up. So, that's that. Send in a voice message. There's a link in the description of every episode to do that. Haven't had one of them in a long time. Um, Also, the show is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Pandora. Um, and then tell your friends about the show and rate the show. Helps get it out to more people, which is nice. So today, um, I don't have a ton of news. Oh, you can check out my website too at um, greycove.net/cheeseheads, spelled with a Z. So for today, we're going to do an AFC East preview. As far as news, not a whole lot. DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, who were released, are still kind of out there, visiting with teams. So, yeah, it's not a ton happening on that front. Hopkins, it sounds like he's pretty much narrowed his options down to the Titans and the Patriots, but he's going to take his time deciding. Dalvin Cook is not really narrowed anyone down, but of course rumors fly. But sounds to me like Hopkins wants money. They both kind of want money, want to contend, but I think Hopkins wants money more than contending. We'll see what Dalvin Cook wants. Maybe he'll want to contend a little bit more than the money, and if he goes to a contender, he might take a little bit less, but I don't see a contender really signing him. At least not at this point. Like, if he's available, like during the season or something. Um, It's possible, but like Kareem Hunt and Leonard Fournette are still out there too. They're pretty solid options. Dalvin Cook isn't far and away better than those guys, if you ask me. So, um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's just jump right into the preview. We're doing the AFC East. Really fun division. Gonna be, yeah, every team, pretty much all but one team, I guess, has a real chance to win the division. I don't see the Patriots winning the division, so um, that's why I kind of left them out of that conversation. But the Dolphins, the Jets, the Bills, the Patriots, and kind of have a hot take on this one. That's the order that I said right there. That's the order I think the division is going to be in. Number one, the Miami Dolphins. Number two, the New York Jets. Number three, the Buffalo Bills. And number four, the New England Patriots. And I will get into that more, go through their schedules like I did last time, look at their records. But first, I want to look at strength of schedule. Uh, so these guys are in the bottom, what, like seven. They are all in the top seven of the hardest schedules in 2023. The Jets have the easiest one, and it's by no means easy. It's the seventh hardest, 26th easiest. Um, then the Bills are next, 29th easiest. Dolphins next, 30th. And the Patriots have the hardest schedule. Um, and I definitely could tell just going through their schedule. I mean, some of the teams I thought were gonna, like the Bills. I keep thinking, the Bills are the Bills. They're gonna win games. But I go through their schedule and it's like really tough. I was having trouble uh, going through and predicting. Um, I was I was just yeah I was It was really hard to actually try to predict how many their record, because I felt like it was kind of hard to get them to win enough games to even to get them above 500, which is pretty um, interesting, considering this is the Bills. I don't think the Bills are going to be quite as good as next year. I think last year was the year to get it done. Now this year, Stephon Diggs started off as uh, really frustrated. He hasn't been in OTAs. I don't think he was at mandatory minicamp really either. Seems kind of upset with Josh Allen. He's kind of that way. Really annoying to have on your team. Um, that's pretty much why the Vikings got rid of him. So he's a good player when he's on the field. Other than that, not so great. And like when he's on the field, he pretty much has to have the ball in his hands a lot, or else he's not happy. Um, well, that's the strength of schedule. There's also rest disparity here based on the schedule. Um, I will say that it seems to like even out a little bit. Miami has a +7 rest edge over the course of the season. Patriots have a +6. Jets have +12. They have, along with Chicago and Washington, have 12 days, uh, more days of rest than their opponents, which is pretty incredible. Uh, I would think that would help uh, over the course of the season, but we have. I'm not sure where New England's at here. Up +6. Um, yeah, actually, we're looking for the Bills, and the Bills are +0. right there beside the Packers. Packers are +0 as well. And so, um, yeah, they're just kind of a neutral team. Um, so I guess we'll get in to predicting their schedule. I did this ahead of time this time. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so we'll start with the Patriots again. Um, they start out the season with a game at home versus the Eagles. That is a loss. I think my guess is once I get through all my predictions, the Eagles will probably be the number one seed, projected number one seed in the NFC. They are just stacked once again this year. So they start off the season with a loss. They stay at home Sunday Night Football versus the Dolphins. They lose that game as well. They go to New York to play the Jets. They lose that game. They go to Dallas to play the Cowboys and lose that game as well. So start off with 4 straight losses. Then in week 5 versus the Saints, they get a win at home. They go to play the Raiders, get a win. Then they play the Bills at home, and I'm going to say they upset the Bills here and get that win. Patriots always seem to make give you competition, especially in division games. Like they always make it really hard for you to win, even though seems like they're not very good of a team, talent wise. They go to play the Dolphins then. And that is a loss at Dolphins. So they've already played the Dolphins twice. They lose both times. And then they play the Commanders at home. That's a win. The Colts at home. This game's in Germany, and it's a win. Then they have their bye week in week 11. So they're bye in 11. Then they go home. They're at well rested. They play the Buccaneers. That's a win. They play the Titans in Tennessee. That's still a win. Week 14 at the Bengals is a loss. Week 15 at home versus Pittsburgh, still a loss. Then they go to Atlanta to play the Falcons. That's a win. At home versus the Raiders, I say they lose this time. Versus the Raiders. I did not remember I had said that. I pretty much have everyone beating the Raiders, but and then versus the Texans, in week 18, it's a win. So they went 5-12 according to my calculations. I will go through and check here real quick. Actually, I think I might have skipped the wrong team. Yeah, I think I did. But I had them going somewhere in that range. It's 6-11 actually. That's what I thought. So if we go back to wherever I was, their bye week there was in week 11. Yeah, that's what I thought. So their bye week in week 11. Then they go where? The Colts have bye week in week 11. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. My bad, guys. I did do this beforehand. I'm just getting a little confused. So, Saints, Raiders, Bills, Dolphins, Commanders, Colts. Then they have their bye, which is week 11, according to this. Oh, yeah, I'm just going down to the wrong team. Another team that has a bye in week 11. Alright, then they go to play the Giants after their bye. Week 12, they go to play the Giants in New York. That's a loss. Versus the Chargers at home. That's a loss. At Pittsburgh, a loss. At home versus the Chiefs is a loss. At Denver versus the Broncos Sunday Night Football. That's a loss. They go to play the Bills in Buffalo. That's a loss. And they go back home to play the Jets. They upset the Jets for the win. And on the season finale, week 18, they go 6-11. Sorry for the confusion there. But, so yeah, I have them going 6-11. I mean, if you know the Patriots and Bill Belichick, and you've seen him do it with Brady, when they had Tom Brady on the team, but they seem to pull games out, just out of the blue, games you don't think they should win. They look like a very um, untalented team, and they'll still pull games out um, and get the win. So you never know what can happen, but they have the hardest schedule of the division, and yeah, I don't expect them to do a whole lot with that. Just talent-wise, they don't seem like that great of a team. So next, we will go to the Bills. I'll discuss my order a little bit here. So pretty much, I sort of got this idea from Colin Cowherd. I listen to him occasionally. Um, and it's yeah, I didn't want to steal his idea. It kind of made sense to me though. I think the Dolphins, they got an offensive coach and a really good defensive coordinator now that they got Vic Fangio. They got Jalen Ramsey. People forget that in a trade during the offseason. So their defense is going to be pretty awesome, as well as their offense. If Tua stays healthy, that's pretty much the big if here. I think if Tua stays healthy, they can be really good this year. They have lots of weapons on offense. They drafted Devon Achane at running back, and they still have Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, which is plenty for McDaniel to use. And I think maybe Achane could end up being the starter, or if you can call any back a starter in that system. But um, and then of course Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They do not have Mike Gesicki. They lost him in free agency, but to be honest, they didn't use him a ton last year. Not the way he was used to be used, at least to being used, just because of uh, Hill and Waddle. Um, Tua was really awesome. We forget how great Tua played. And so, as long as he is able to stay healthy, stay out of concussion trouble, as long as he is able to stay healthy and just stay out of concussion trouble, I think the Dolphins can be really good. And the reason I have Bills all the way down in number 3, like for projected wins, like the betting odds and stuff, the Bills are number 1, then Jets, then Dolphins. I have Dolphins, Jets, then Bills. Um, I have Bills down there just because um, they they lost Devin Singletary in free agency for one thing. I don't see that affecting them too much because their rushing game has never been amazing. Josh Allen does some rushing and lots of throwing, but their aerial game is going to suffer a little bit. They did lose their slot option too, Isaiah McKenzie, and um, I think there's always a chance that Diggs could be traded or something. Um, I still don't consider that likely, but either way, Diggs is definitely unhappy right now, and that turmoil definitely is not going to help a team play better. So I think this is going to be really tough for the Bills to do a whole lot, and we'll go over their um, schedule here before too long. But let's um, actually we'll just go over their schedule right now. Week 1, they go to play the Jets on Monday Night Football. Should be a fun game, and I'm going to say they are going to lose to Aaron Rodgers and company. They go home to play the Raiders, get a win. Go to the Commanders, get a win. Go home versus the Dolphins, get a win. They play the Jaguars in London. That's technically a home game for them. It's a win. They stay at, or yeah, not stay at home. They go back home. Their real home versus the Giants. They lose that game. Giants upset the Bills there. They go to play the Patriots in New England. Like I said, in week 7, they will lose that game to the Patriots. They go and play Buccaneers, short rest on Thursday Night Football. They still win that one. Um, and that was at home in week 8 there versus the Buccaneers. At Cincinnati versus the Bengals in week 9, they lose that one. Against the Broncos at home, Monday Night Football, they get the win. At home versus the Jets in week 11, they get the win. At Eagles week 12, they lose that game. Their bye week is in week 13. Week 14, they go to play the Chiefs in Kansas City and lose. Week 15, they go home, play the Cowboys, win. Week 16 is at the Chargers. They win that one. Week 17, at home versus the Patriots. It's a win. Week 18 at the Dolphins, a loss. I have them going 10-7. This is the Bills. Um, so you might find some of those results interesting. And send me in a voice message. I want to hear what your thoughts are on my hot takes. If you disagree, that is totally fine. I want to hear that too. So Q&A's, voice message, especially. Um, yeah, I'd like to hear from you. Um, on to the Jets. Um, yeah, it's sort of tough to predict them. Getting Aaron Rodgers. Not every team does that every year, but um, it should be interesting. And I have them doing pretty good, but not amazing, going out and winning the division or anything like that. Um, they start off the season Monday Night Football at home versus the Bills. And they start out hot with a win versus the Bills. They go to play the Cowboys, a win. Go back home, play the Patriots, and win. Start off with 3 straight wins. Go home, play the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. That's a loss. They go to Denver to play the Broncos. They still win. They go home to play the Eagles. That's a loss. Their bye week, an early bye week, in week 7. So after week 7, it's week 8 versus the Giants at New York. They win. At home versus the Chargers, Monday Night Football, it's a win. At the Raiders, Sunday Night Football, that's a win. At the Bills, that is a loss. So they lose the game in Buffalo. Versus the Dolphins at home, though, they get a win. They go to play the Falcons at Atlanta, or not at Atlanta, at home, sorry. But they win either way. At home versus the Texans is a win. At Miami, they lose that one. At home versus the Commanders, it's a win. At Cleveland, Thursday Night Football, so shorter rest. But it's still a win. And then they play the Patriots in New England and lose. The Patriots take that game from them. And they go 12-5 on the season, which I think is pretty reasonable for what the Rodgers-led Jets can do their first season. I don't think they're gonna just be a smashing success and just be dominating during the regular season, but I think they can sneak into the playoffs with a wild card spot and possibly compete in the playoffs. Who knows? Um, so on to the Dolphins to finish the preview up. I have them winning the division, and they start off week 1 with a win at Los Angeles Chargers. At the Patriots, Sunday Night Football, they lose week 2. Week 3 at home versus the Broncos, it's a win. At Buffalo, it's a win. Still a win at Buffalo. Which is, I'm actually kind of surprised I did that. I was pretty sure I was planning on putting that down as a loss because Miami normally always loses at Buffalo because it's kind of a rough place to play. Um, at home versus the Giants, they win. Versus the Panthers, they win. At Eagles, Sunday Night Football game, and I have them winning. I have them upsetting the Eagles. That could be a fun one to watch, but I have them upsetting the Eagles. At home versus the Patriots, they win. At home versus the Chiefs, they lose that one. Then it's their bye week. Then they go. Then they're at home again versus the Raiders. They win. At the Jets, they lose. At Commanders, it's a win. At home versus the Titans, Monday Night Football, it's a win. At home versus the Jets, they win that one as well. Then they're at home versus the Cowboys, and they lose that one. But then they bounce back at Baltimore the next week with a win versus the Ravens. At home versus the Bills. Then in week 18 to finish things up, they win that one and go 13-4. So yeah, that will be a very good season from the Dolphins. I think they're capable of it. It's just see what happens, and obviously all bets are off if Tua gets injured a bunch last year, or this year again, like last year. But we'll see what happens. So I guess I did count the wins right, even though I had them winning at the Bills. So that's a little bit of a hot take there as well, apparently. Yeah, I didn't realize I had it like that, but yeah, I guess I did have it like that, and yeah. So that is my predictions for the AFC East. Yeah, see, I did mess up here. Because I have the Bills winning versus the Dolphins at home. You know what? I'm going to put that down. Oh, man. I don't know how to change it. Because I did mess it up there. I thought I did. I'm going to have to put that down as a loss because that's what I was initially thinking I did. So they actually lose in what? What was it? Week 4 versus the Bills. And that means they will actually be going 12-5, which is the same as the Jets. But let me see. Oh, at Jets they lost. I'm gonna say whatever the next tiebreaker is, other than head-to-head matchups. I'm gonna say that they get the tiebreaker somehow, because I think they're gonna do better than the Jets. But they do go 12-5 in their final record. Nothing changes for the Patriots though. So 12-5. Once again, I'm slightly underprepared to do this preview, but I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for listening. In this late episode, next week we will be likely previewing the AFC West. So be sure to stick around for that one. Check out my website. Tell your friends about the show. Rate the show. Do the Q&As. Do the polls. Send in a voice message. And I will talk to you later. Goodbye.